Welcome to Rodney and Dr. A's Relationship Hub. Whether you're single, dating, or married, this is your go-to place for all discussions on relationships. Our goal is to inform, empower, and restore.
Today's topic is red flags in relationships, warning signs you should not ignore. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Risa Tisa. However, she's a young lady that created a 30 series or more about a relationship that she got into with a man that she met online and ended up marrying. And it was a negative experience and full of lies and deceit. So hopefully after reviewing this video, you will have a better idea of what signs and red flags that you should not ignore and that should be addressed. I believe that you should always go with your gut. Don't ever ignore your gut, because your gut usually never steers you wrong. And this is something that my mom had always told me. And I believe it even after ignoring my gut for several times, I found out that my gut really led me the right way. So I have learned, it took me many times to learn that go with that gut feeling because it's not going to lead you wrong. Another reason I think that women are usually steered wrong and they ignore these warning signs is because they get involved into sexual relationships too early. Getting involved in a sexual relationship really early a lot of times causes you to get caught up in the person's charisma and not their character. I truly believe that a person sends their representative way before you see who they really are. So a lot of times you allow yourself to get caught up into who you think and hope that this person is. And you oftentimes, you're misled and you ignore these signs and these red flags that are right there in front of you. Another thing that a lot of people ignore is a person's history of their past relationships. Their past relationships will kind of show you who they are. And so, for example, you need to know how many relationships this person has been in, how long have these relationships lasted, why did these relationships end, and if there's a child involved in these relationships, look at this relationship between the child and the parent. Is it a volatile relationship? Does this person spend time with this child? Does this person financially support this child? All of these signs will show you what type of person this person would be with you and what type of parent this person would be with you. Another warning sign that I would like to address is substance abuse. If the person is indulging in substances or alcohol, that is a big red flag. The reason being is because a lot of times when people are self-indulging in substances and alcohol, or whatever it is that they're abusing, it could be even gambling, they're going to spend more time with that vice versus you, which means that a lot of their time is going to go into that. A lot of their money is going to go into that. My background is mental health counseling and substance abuse. I also teach psychopathology as well as a substance abuse class. And from what I know and what research shows is that a lot of times substance abuse and mental health disorders go hand in hand with each other. And a lot of times people are self-medicating because of these mental health issues, past experiences, or baggages that they cannot or have not let go. I also recommend that if a person has a addiction disorder, that they seek professional help for it, because that will allow them to learn coping mechanisms and will give them techniques, also allow them to deal with past experiences and baggages that they may have, and also deal with any mental health disorder that has not been properly diagnosed and treated.
Another thing you want to be very mindful of is if you see warning signs of a person that has no stability. You constantly seeing that instability in them rising up. They never can hold down a job more than a couple of months at a time. They never can hold down a place of residence more than a couple of months at a time. When you met them, they had a red car. 3 months later, they got a blue car. 2 months after that, they got a green car because that car keeps getting repossessed. There's just no foundation in anything that they do. Everything is constantly fluctuating and constantly jumping. That is definitely a warning sign that you don't want to ignore, because that means they're not going to be stable in that relationship as you continue on with them. The next thing that we can talk about is someone who never sets boundaries. Now, for me, when I think about someone who doesn't set boundaries, I'm speaking more of in that familial side. Their family members always have some type of input in what's going on in the relationship. Their family members are always hanging around, always just inputting and inserting themselves. And that person is never drawing a line to let them know that the relationship is me and you, not me, you, and all of them. So someone that doesn't set any type of boundaries with their family members can also be a warning sign, because that means as the relationship progresses, those people are going to constantly be allowed to insert themselves into what's going on in your relationship.
I also want to address boundaries, because boundaries could also mean I can go out and see who I want to see and do what I want to do, and you can't. So a lot of times the boundaries are also in a relationship as it deals with me seeing other people, or what some people would consider cheating on each other in a relationship.
Right. Another warning sign that we don't want to ignore is someone who avoids conflict. Someone who avoids conflict is always going to, when there's a problem, they're never going to address it. They're going to turn and run from it. They're going to tuck their head in the sand and try to hide from it. They're going to push those feelings down and pretend that it's going to go away and it's going to get better all by itself. And that never is the recipe for success, because one or two things can happen. That person that's always going to avoid conflict and never try to seek any type of solutions, the other person in the relationship may start to see them as someone who has no strength, who has no backbone, who's not going to be somebody that I can really count on, that when something needs to be done, they can do it. But in the reverse, that person could push and harbor those feelings and push everything down and hold it in for so long that one day the tiniest little thing sets that spark off, and now I have a bomb exploding because they haven't dealt with issues the way they should have been doing for that certain amount of time. So conflict is unavoidable. Dr. A and I, we argue, we have disagreements, all of that, because there is no perfect relationship. But we're able to communicate with each other, and we're able to address those conflicts. And even if she doesn't agree with everything I say, and I don't agree with everything she says, we can come to a mutual understanding and agreement. And even on those points, we have to agree to disagree. But we don't just let it lie there and fester, because in the long run, that's going to be something that's very detrimental to the relationship.
All right. Another red flag is if you've never met any family or friends. If this person is just all by themselves, they never talk about friends, they never hang out with anybody, that's a red flag right there. Another red flag is jealousy and over controlling. And if a person, I think both of these two go hand in hand, because a lot of times if they're jealous, they would feel uncomfortable with you speaking to another guy. Maybe he's your coworker, maybe he's your best friend, and vice versa. Or maybe they don't want you to go out with certain people, or they're trying to control the way you dress. They may tell you, you go back in the house, you change your clothes and things of that nature.
What about those instances also where it's not always about you being with another guy or another girl? I've seen those instances where people can be overly controlling simply about even family members. I want to go hang out with my mom this weekend. Well, no, I think you should stay with me. You're going to leave me to go hang out with your mom, or you're going to leave me to go hang out and visit your cousin. So even in those aspects, people can be overly controlling because they're trying to keep you away from every other single person and hold you all to themselves, which is always a warning sign you should be aware of.
Correct.
The next thing we'll talk about is gaslighting. Now, gaslighting simply means it's a form of manipulation. When somebody is trying to gaslight you, what they're doing is trying to manipulate you into believing that everything that you know to be true, everything that you know that you've seen, you have 100% truth of what you're saying, but everything you're saying is wrong. What your mind is telling you is absolutely wrong. You're going crazy. What your eyes see is not really what they see. And it's a form of them being able to manipulate you and say that everything that you have, everything that you know, all of that is wrong. Listen to what I'm telling you, because I have all the answers and I'm always the one that's going to be right.
The next red flag is lies. And this is what caused a lot of friction in Risa Tisa's relationship. She found out that this dude was always telling a lie. Nothing was the truth. Everything about him was a lie. The one thing that I learned about lies is they're easy to catch. Because what happened is you cannot remember all of your lies.
That's right.
And the story is eventually going to change, or something's going to be a little different in it. Or you can't answer the questions to the story, or you can't produce any proof. So lies, lies, lies. That is a red flag.
For sure.
When people lie, they lie because it's something that they know they've done wrong and they're trying to hide, or they're trying to compensate for something. So always realize that the lie will present itself as a lie. Another area is when a person, red flag is when a person devalues you or your self-worth is what I'm trying to say. This is my philosophy on that. Never allow somebody to dictate who you are. Never allow somebody to tell you who you are. Never allow somebody to tell you what you can and what you cannot do or become. Do not allow yourself to devalue yourself and put yourself so low that you no longer have a standard. Always keep your standard and never devalue your worth.
Because someone that has to always put you down to push themselves up is definitely not somebody that you want in your circle.
Don't lower your standards to accommodate somebody else.
Right. The next warning sign that we're going to talk about, that red flag, is someone who's always self-centered. Someone that's self-centered means every single thing is all about me. I'm the sun, I'm the moon, I'm the stars, I'm the rain, I'm every single thing. I'm above everything. I'm above everyone else. Everything is all about me. I'm always right. I have all the answers. It's my way or the highway. Someone like that is not someone that you should want to even be around. Because my philosophy is always somebody that's self-centered. If they thinking that much about themselves, how much thought are they going to ever have to put towards you? How much effort are they ever going to put into the relationship? Or how much value, as Dr. A was just saying, how much value are they ever going to put in you if every single thing is all about me? I want you to cater to me. I want you to be with me. I want you to love me. I want you to serve me and all those different things. It can't be all about me because we are in a relationship together. So if they're self-centered, that's definitely a gigantic warning flag that you don't want to ignore.
The next red flag is lack of accountability. That means they could be mismanaging money, mismanaging time, not spending enough time with you, not making it to work on time, not spending time with their child if they have one, not paying bills. Accountability is a big thing because accountability is important not only in your personal life, but also in your career and the way that you manage things in your life.
And accountability also speaks to how you deal with conflict, how you deal with disagreements. Because if I'm not accountable for anything that I do, I'm never going to take ownership of that. One thing Dr. A and I always say, especially even when we're counseling people, nothing is ever 100% somebody else's fault. If I did 5%, you got to own that 5%. And be able to accept and take that. A person that will not apologize, a person that never thinks that they're wrong, in my mind is always one of the most dangerous people on the planet because that person is never going to accept accountability for anything that they do. The last thing we're going to talk about is a person that's irresponsible. Now, irresponsibility can show itself up in a lot of different ways, and it's definitely a warning flag that you want to be aware of. An irresponsible person won't show up for anything on time. An irresponsible person won't be able to follow through with anything that you ask them to do or that they say that they're going to do. If I tell you I'm going to be at this place at this time, I show up 2 hours later. If I tell you, they're not dependable. If I tell you I'm going to take care of this bill and I don't pay it, now we got no lights, I'm being very irresponsible. So that's definitely a warning sign that you want to be aware of because somebody like that is always going to be wishy-washy and you'll never be able to depend on them.
Amen.
Yes? Well, if you've enjoyed the information that we've shared today, we ask that you give us that thumbs up, hit that like button, but more importantly, we want you to hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell. That way, every time we put out a new video, you'll be the first ones to get it. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.